His chest heaved as he tried to calm down before the meeting. Joker felt as though he was walking into a death sentence while trying to control his temper at the meeting. You're to sit next to me today. Do you understand? No flirting with Dent. Pax's mouth dropped as she felt accused. I don't flirt. Besides, Harvey wouldn't do anything like that. Joker smirked. You think he's your friend? Get real. Why are you being so cruel? I didn't ask for. Joker slammed the brakes as he parked the car and turned to Pax's hurt face. I am a very jealous man. You're mine. Do you understand? No. I only have one more job and I can go. You promised. Her eyes searched for an answer. Joker heaved out of his side and opened her door. Pax shook her head in disbelief as she eased out. It's my fault. Joker squinted at her. What? I was a fool to trust you and Frost. Pax's face showed no emotion as he listened. Maybe someday I'll learn. Or die trying. He was shocked at her last comment. Joker studied her long sheer-covered legs as she walked in front of him. Pax was surprised to see Frost in the lobby. She almost cried as she ran to him and hugged him. Hey now, what's wrong? Frost held her out with his hands on her shoulders. Joker glared to the side as he proceeded to the meeting room. Oh, nothing. It just seems like I never see you. I miss you, that's all. Frost still studied her. You look different. Are you sure you're okay? Pax rubbed her hands nervously. Never better. 2 down, 1 more to go. Joker held his breath as Pax entered the boardroom. She straightened her jacket as she walked to her seat. Two-Face came by and patted her shoulder. Good to see you, Pax. She nervously smiled up to him as her little hand patted his. You too. Pax held her breath as her lip quivered as she looked to him. She was remembering what Joker said to her. You think he's your friend? Two-Face could read her expression like a book. Who hurt you? Pax's eyes widened as she shook her head. No one, Harvey. I'm just exhausted from all the program coding. I'm fine really. Harvey cut his eyes to Joker as he played with his phone. Harvey leaned down to her cheek. I don't give a fuck who's listening right now, but if anyone has hurt you, I swear. Pax grabbed his hand and squeezed it. Harvey, I appreciate your concern. You are a true friend. Harvey noticed Joker's eyes were looking straight ahead as he listened to their conversation. He stood straight up and huffed as he straightened his jacket as he glared at Joker. Pax did a double take to a shocked Oswald that was sitting beside her. What was that about? He's scary when he's angry. Pax rolled her eyes as she propped her head on her hand. Nothing. Oswald cut his eyes to Joker. He did the same briefly, then leaned his head on his hand also. The board was ready for Pax's LexCorp findings. She stood as she smiled nervously. Frost noticed her demeanor had changed since last time he saw her. Hello. For those who do not know me, I'm Penelope Xavier, or you may call me Pax. I do apologize for working right up to the deadline on this one, but one would assume that LexCorp had the best state-of-the-art security for their system. That was my mistake to assume. I worked on this system very heavy for about 2 days, and, Pax had a flashback to her first kiss. I'm sorry, and I was getting nowhere. She smiled nervously as she looked around the room. I actually come across the answer by mistake. I googled how to exterminate a virus, but with it being Google, the search engine came up with actual living viruses that had been exterminated through vaccines. All of the results said the same. You make the antivirus from the antibodies from an infected person. After more research, I came across some shocking reports of LexCorp being accused of hacking viruses. Joker sat up straight as he was starting to understand how valuable Pax's brain was as he had already thought out her process. So I did what any doctor would do. I bought an infected laptop so I could dissect their coding cycle. After breaking it down, I found their code pattern and sent in my own Trojan virus through theirs. In your packet is a jump drive with all of LexCorp's files, down to their cleaning supply list. Pax turned as she heard one lone man clapping in the back of the room. She froze in disbelief. Hello, Pax. Long time no see. Pax sighed. Hello, Brian. Everyone, please meet Mr. Brian Derlin. Brian started to walk towards Pax, but he stopped as Frost pulled his pistol and aimed it at him. Pax, get behind me now. Pax walked over to Frost and peeked from behind him. Brian bit his bottom lip in amusement. Hello, Frost. I see you kept her nice and safe for me, but I think I'll be taking her home now. Pax whimpered from behind Frost. No. Oswald stood up with a glare. Mr. Derlin, this is a private meeting. Brian smiled as he ran his hand through his thick hair. For shareholders only, right? Well, I'm the new owner of Hector's shares. Here's the paperwork signed and sealed. He signed them over right before I killed him. Pax heard all of the board members stand and pulled their weapons. Brian laughed as he held up his hands. You're gonna shed blood over this little piece of property. He held one hand out at Pax's direction. Come on guys, there are others just like her. Well, brain-wise, but I must say Pax, damn, you filled out nice. Frost pulled his hammer back. Shut your goddamn mouth. Oswald was still glaring at Brian. It's not very wise to come in your first meeting and threaten everyone here, especially someone that is an asset to us. Also, may I remind you that our stock is private party. We can vote on who can and can't own it. Until that discussion is made, you will have to leave. Brian slightly smacked his dry mouth. Well, guess ya got me. He locked eyes with Pax. You will be coming home. Just remember that. He turned his eyes to Frost and nodded. Pax held her breath as she watched him leave. Frost holstered his pistol as he turned to her. She was pale from the shock. Frost, how did he find me? How did he? Frost grabbed her shoulders. Calm down. Pax's chest heaved as she tried to breathe. I need air. She pushed away from him and bolted for the door before he could stop her. Pax. She didn't stop. Pax ran to the quickest balcony and grabbed the railing as she pressed her eyes closed. She hyperventilated as bad memories flooded her mind. The burns, the cuts and the starvation consumed her mind. Pax's eyes eased open as she looked down on the street far below. Her face looked like she was in a trance as she climbed on the other side of the rail. She looked up and took a sigh of relief as she was about to let go. Pax, stop. Her eyes flew open as she turned to the doorway. Joker eased up to her with his hands up. Where ya going? To hell, but it seems I'm already there. She looked back down to the street. Oh, why did he find me? Pax, look at me. Frost and I will make sure you're safe. Just come back over to this side. Pax looked back to him with a blank face. But who's going to save me from you? Joker lowered his hands. What do you think he called me? Take a wild guess. Joker took another slow step to her. Well, honey, he was mistaken. You're mine. Pax stomped her foot on the little ledge. Just listen to yourself. You're just like him. Cruel. Possessive. Take what they want and damn the outcome. Joker had eased all the way up the ledge and cradled her face with his hands. You're right. I'm sorry for the cruel things I said to you. I lied about Dent. He is your friend. But I don't regret being your first. Please don't blame yourself. You did nothing wrong. Pax placed her left hand over his as he stroked her tear-stained cheeks. She wrapped her arms around his neck and he easily pulled her over to the other side. He pushed his lips to hers as he pressed her to his chest. Pax pushed away. Frost will see us. He growled as he pulled her behind him. His eyes scanned the hallway and he smiled as he found what he was looking for. Perfect. Ha! She gasped as he pulled her into an oversized coat closet. She lost her balance in the darkness as she heard him lock the door. Pax flinched as he pulled the chain on the swaying light bulb over her head. She took a step back until she reached the end of the closet. He smiled as he shut in her ear. Do you think we can be quiet enough? He didn't give her any time to answer before his mouth was on hers again. He jerked her dress jacket off and spun her around and unzipped her dress. She gasped as he placed kisses all down her exposed back. It was hard to think since he was moving so fast. Joker smiled as he whispered in her ear. No thong. Pax heaved as she spoke. You ripped it off earlier, remember? He pulled her naked backside to his hips to bend her slightly. Pax threw her head back as she groaned as he slipped his thumb in and his middle finger and index on her clit. SSHHH. Be a little more quiet. Pax whimpered at his request as his fingers picked up pace. She bucked against him as he removed his hand. She could hear him quickly removing his belt and unzipped his dress slacks. He growled as he eased into her as he snaked his arm around her waist. Pax gasped loudly as she felt him stretched her. She bent her head down to take in the new position of pleasure. I'm not going to last long, Jay. Joker pounded into her as quickly and quietly as he could. Me either. Tell me if you're about to scream. She nodded as her breath heaved. Oh God. He quickly covered her mouth briefly. SSHH. Pax sounded distressed as she whispered. I'm sorry. Oh fuck. Please Jay.